Look, if you're new here, I'm glad that you're here. There's a running joke amongst all the campuses. This seems to be the humorous and jovial church more than the others. And so I stood up on stage, and Mary, the lady who just was giving the announcement, had everyone throw tomatoes at me one time. Okay. So, which is great. So I know she'll be okay with this, but did anyone notice the rock eyebrow on that? She always talks about when she does it, one eyebrow goes up and the other one, this is her thing or whatever. I didn't know you had that talent. And so anyways, I think you do great. It keeps on going up. Every time in staff, she's always like, my eyebrow. And she's trying to find a way to tape it down with her glasses behind it. But anyways, thank you, Mary. I appreciate you guys doing that a ton. It takes courage to be up there. Hey, before we get into today's message, you guys, is there a place on there where it says notes where you can write something down? I think this is key, and I don't know if you take notes. I would strongly encourage you to take notes, especially a few things that stand out to you. I've always encouraged you guys all to put your notes that you take on your refrigerator so you can have a reflection through the week. And I think today is one of those days especially that we always constantly need a reminder of what we're going to be talking about today. But I think there's a key phrase you guys should all write in there that I promise we'll come back to at the end. And it's this, is all of us will face trials and challenges in our lives. But that's not the problem. The problem is the way we respond in those trials and challenges. The challenges and trials we face are never the problem. It is always our response to those trials and challenges. So if you guys could possibly write that down, I promise we'll come back to it, but I want that in there, and I don't want us to miss that. Who would agree we're all going to face trials and challenges? All of us. But we would all agree that the response that we have will ultimately dictate the outcome that we want. Right? I don't care who's persecuting me, but if I still have hope, peace, joy, gratitude, and thankfulness, who can mess with me? Right? Amen, amen, amen for that one. So today we're talking about maybe one of the most characters who had the most challenges that anyone had ever faced, and he also had the most success that any of us had ever had seen. And today we're talking about the legend of Joe Jacobson. Who here knows who Joe Jacobson is in the Bible? Joseph, the son of Jacob. Someone's like, this doesn't make sense. Jacob's son is Joseph. So we're calling it the legend of Joe Jacobson. And many of us have heard the story before too as well, but this man went through a lot of challenges that we're going to go through today, and he went through a lot of success too as well. Primarily because he got promoted to the second most wealthiest man in a foreign country that he didn't even belong to. But he went through a lot of things, and so whether you're in a great season of life right now, or you're having the challenges that probably many of us are facing today, there's something for all of us in this message today too as well. And for those of you who walk out of here, and I heard it a couple weeks ago, as someone was walking by, a regular was like, I didn't get anything out of that today, Pastor. It was like, what about the 14 scriptures that I read out loud? Listen, what you receive today will dictate, is your heart prepared to hear what the Lord wants you to hear? It has nothing to do with maybe how funny I am or what I give you or what context or whatever. Is your heart open to what God wants to share with you today?
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So if anyone walks out of here and says, I didn't get anything out of here today, that's your fault.
Come on.
Got that, Mark? Give him a donut. And extra donuts and all that too as well. So we're going to be looking at some of the things that Joseph had gone through in his life. And there are three things that are probably the main things that formed him into the person that we hear about and talk about and see today. And the first thing that ever shows up, point number one was Joseph was his father's favorite son. And his dad made it completely known. Does anyone have a favorite child in their house?
I'm his favorite child.
You only have one child. You have three. Do they know who the favorite is?
It
Changes day to day, right? I asked Debbie Donaro's granddaughter, do you have a favorite grandmother? And she didn't want to say it out loud, and she was pointing to her grandma. We all have favorites. Miss Phyllis, I know you got a lot of kids, but do you have a favorite? Claudia already knows it's her, right? The greatest thing, though, about parents, what we do is that while we may have a favorite, all of them feel like they're the favorite. I know my kids always say that, oh, we know who your favorite is, and both of them are completely wrong, because I love them both equally, but like Logan said, there's some days some are better than others, right? But the thing is here is that Jacob, Joseph's dad, likes it known to all of them who his favorite child is. It says this: Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his children, because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day, Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, not the other kids. Like when you guys come back from vacation, you guys bring gifts for everyone, right? So no one thinks that they're the favorite, right? This guy's screwing up right now. He gives a special gift, a beautiful robe to Joseph. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them, so they couldn't say a kind word to him. One night, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers about it, they hated him more than ever. This is what Joseph says. And then, by the way, this kid at this time is about 15 to 17 years old. And he's got some older brothers that are probably closer to 30 to 40 years old, okay? But they're still underneath Dad's rule and Dad's stuff and Dad's authority at this time. But the youngest one, the 15-year-old, snot-nosed favorite kid, says this to his brothers. Listen to this dream, he said. We were all out in the field, tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. He is saying in this moment, one day, all of you guys will take a knee and bow to me. And they hated him for it. And there are a few things right here. Well, first of all, Jacob messed up, right? I mean, don't tell who your favorite is, right? Don't let everyone know. So I would say a lot of this has to do with Jacob right now for the hatred that was stirred up in the family because Dad didn't do it right. And Joseph is immature. Joseph, he's playing into this. He's like, God told me, you're going to bow down to me. Right? He's not being wise in that moment. And then this is what ends up happening because of Joseph and his reaction and how he's doing this to his brothers. When Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him in the distance. As he approached, they made plans to kill him. Here comes the dreamer, they said. Come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of the cisterns. Into the ditch. The pit. We can tell our father a wild animal has eaten him, then we'll see what becomes of his dreams. But when Reuben heard of this scheme, he came to Joseph's rescue. Let's not kill him, he said. Why should we shed any blood? Let's just throw him into the empty pit here in the wilderness, and then he'll die without us laying a hand on him. By the way, I think it's way worse to suffer for long periods of time not eating or drinking. But Reuben's apparently a hero in this moment, right? Reuben was secretly planning to rescue Joseph and return him to his father. So Reuben happens to be the one in this moment that is the voice of reason, and he's all good, and he's the one saving them all. But this is a real defining moment in his life because at this point, Joseph no longer has the peace and rest of his home. He no longer has the comfort of what his family has at home. He's gone with no food, no water. He's living in the wilderness. His family has deserted him in this moment. This is a hard time for a 15 to 17-year-old boy, knowing your family hates you, and they're going to they end up selling him to slavery outside of the wall, outside of it. They don't kill him. But basically at this day, he's lost everything. He's 15 years old. I meet 40-year-olds who lose smaller portions of this, and then the world is done. This man is 15. Young Debbie down there was granddaughter. How old are you? 17? This is your age right now. Mom, grandma, your favorite, kicks you out and says, that's it, we're done. This is a terrible moment this far. This is partly of defining where he's going to be going and how his life is going to turn out. This is going to be horrible. And where is God in all of this? Where is he at when Joseph has been being mistreated, like many of us ask ourselves all the time? Who's going through a trial or challenge right now? We can all raise our hands. Do you guys at times sit there and say, where's God in this moment? Why hasn't he showed up? As Christians, one of the biggest things and the biggest obstacles we have about defending our faith is they will always ask, Where is your God in this moment? How do you have hope in this moment? You're going through cancer. You're going through tumors. You're going through loved ones lost. You've lost your spouse. You lost your father. You've lost your children. Like, where is God in all of this at this moment? And I think Joseph would be saying the same thing too as well. Well, we're going to find out. Because point number 2 is Joseph was his dad's favorite, and he also became Potiphar's favorite too as well. Joseph is sold into slavery at age 17, and he works for Potiphar for about 10 years as a 17-year-old. And let me get this. I think Joseph was probably a little lazy. Does anyone got a lazy younger child in here? A younger sibling? Yeah, Ryan, we know Eric's the lazy one out of all of us. We know it too as well. I don't know, who's the oldest in your family? Right? So everything that you do early on, your parents train you to do all the work in the house, or our parents would take us to the restaurants when we were 9 years old at 2 o'clock in the morning, show us how to prep cook, how to put away the order, and do all these things. But when the younger baby comes in, they're like, I don't have the effort to retrain him, so you just stay home and watch cartoons, Eric, and have cereal and Rice Krispies, and David and Ryan will go to the 5 other locations and prep cook for all of these people. And so I think that it says in scriptures that as the boys and the brothers were out working in the field, they see Joseph rolling in after 2 o'clock. He had breakfast with his dad, his mom was probably singing to him, probably rubbed his feet, probably gave him a bath, probably washed the robe, put it on him. And finally, midday, I think, this is a book of opinions, that Joseph starts to finally come out there. And they're like, look at this little spoiled little brat in this moment, right? Like, are you kidding me right now? So I think while he had responsibilities, I don't think he had near the responsibilities or the hard work ethic that his brothers did. And I'll say this, probably because dad and mom didn't make that a priority. So when he is sold into slavery to Potiphar, I got to tell you, I don't think he had the work ethic to get it done. Just an opinion. Does anyone else can maybe see that a little bit? Right? Maybe. Because when I told my brother Eric, like, hey man, we got to work on 14-hour days. Like, 14 hours? How many breaks do I get? I'm like, Eric, you're the owner of the store, you don't get a break. Oh no, I gotta have my quiet time, right? I'm just kidding, Eric, you're not like that at all. Yes, you are. And I know you guys have other siblings like that. Mom always treats us differently. So anyways, so now he's sold into slavery. It says this, when Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh. High-end guy. This is a big dude right here. Was captain of the guard for the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord was with Joseph. So he succeeded in everything he did as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Where was God? God says, I was with Joseph. He's his father's favorite, now he's Potiphar's favorite. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibilities over everything he owned to a 17-year-old kid who didn't have a work ethic, who was brass, who would talk down to his brothers. All of a sudden, God's hand is on him. He's doing amazing. Potiphar says, this man needs to be in charge of everything. So Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing. A 17-year-old kid is running this stuff for one of the biggest dudes in the military, in the government, and Joseph's in charge of it. He didn't worry about anything except what kind of food to eat. Pizza, pepperoni, vegetarian, or whatever. That was his stress at this time. Joseph was a very handsome, sounds like Eric. Joseph, I'm not only talking, bringing you up now. I'm going to bring you up, okay? So Joseph was a very handsome man and well-built. He was a very well-built young man. And Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. Come and sleep with me, she demanded. But Joseph refused. Look, he told her, my master trusts me with everything in this entire household. No one has more authority than I do. He has held back nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God. This man is a slave. He's working in this area, but he is highly up there. Don't you think for one moment he would have said, the heck with it. Why not indulge in some sin? I think I deserve it right now. God, I'm still a slave. I was 17 years old, ripped from my house, ripped from my family, lost my mom, lost my dad, lost my brothers who I thought were protecting me, and I'm living in a foreign land. Shouldn't I just do it? Shouldn't I indulge in some sin? But here's one thing that gets me about this, and I want to backtrack for one quick moment. It says that God was with Joseph. And Potiphar saw it too as well. It says this about why Potiphar did what he did in verse 3 to 4 in chapter 39 of Genesis. It says this: Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant, and he put him in charge of everything that he owned. If I was Joseph, and I'm just speaking for myself, because there are times where I've had the challenges and the trials and things have gone awry left and right, and all of us could raise our hands because we had the same exact things too as happening to as well. It's hard during those times to think God's in the middle of it. Does anyone else agree? When things are going awry, it's hard. But I think what is most sobering for me is when someone else tells me, man, God's really blessing you. I remember Jeremy Gonzalez, who was preached here twice. This is a true story. We were opening restaurants, but I was being sued left and right. And I remember him coming up to me, and he says, dang, David, you're a blessed man. Everything you touch turns to gold. Okay. I didn't see that at that time. I just saw the struggles, and I was wailing in the moments of the challenges that I had, the new restaurants that were opening downtown, the lawsuits that were coming on, the people quitting on me left and right. My marriage was a little bit on the rock. We weren't ever in a divorce. I don't even say that word. We were good, but you know where you're bickering left and right? Who here's bickering today before you got to church? Miss Gray, I knew it. Wally, I know he looks innocent, but Wally's never innocent. I'm sure some of you guys, you're bickering left and right, and in this moment, I think I can't even see God. And it actually humbled me that someone on the outside, Potiphar on the outside, can see the hand of God in Joseph's life. I think that's a humbling experience for all of us, that how can someone who's not even a believer, who's someone who's part of Egypt, but they recognize the hand of God when we don't even see it ourselves as well. That we think that God isn't in it with us and that we're by ourselves. So when Jeremy told me that day, it was sobering. How come I can't see the hand of God in my life? How come I don't have a heart of gratitude for the things that are going on in my life? Why do I only see the bad, but this other person sees it? Let me point something out to you. A lot of us every single day have a hard time seeing the hand of God in our lives. Wouldn't you agree? You're going through a bad moment, and the challenge is there, but you can't see the hand of God. For one quick second, and I didn't ask any of you guys for approval of this, but I've said it many times before too as well. Through trials and tribulations that happen, God has brought amazing outcomes. Amazing outcomes. I had seen this story before, maybe some of you guys have seen it too as well. A 7-year-old girl gets diagnosed with cancer, and she ends up going into the hospital. There's a 55-year-old man, fully tatted, like Damien, with that skull on his face too as well right now. And in this moment, the young girl would meet him outside in the garden because they were both going through cancer treatment. She was stage 4, and he was stage 2. And they would go outside in the garden and meet during lunchtime. And she would see him from a distance and write him little letters. I can't wait till we're out of here. And give it to him. And he would dismiss her. He says for 2 months, he dismissed this little girl, get away. He goes, because all I saw was the challenges that were going in my own life, the heartache that I had, that I may not make this. And here's a 7-year-old girl whose cancer was worse than mine, was writing me letters. And then finally, after 2 months, the girl wrote to him, Jimmy, I pray I see you in heaven one day, but I'll probably get there first. 7-year-old kid writes this to this guy. This man breaks down. And he starts saying, instead of doing this, can we meet for lunch? A 7-year-old kid who was brought to this hospital because of stage 4 cancer ends up testifying and preaching the gospel to a 55-year-old man. That young girl died 2 months later. That man has been a pastor for the past 25 years because of what had happened during that time. The challenges and trials that come into our lives, we don't know what it is meant for, but I promise you, God is still in it with you too as well. The question will always be for all of us. It's not the trials that we face is the problem. It's our response in those moments of trials. I can go through it too as well. Jim, you only come here from the Bay Area to see your family, but you ran across the sign, and now we're friends, and we've talked, we've chit-chatted, we've counseled each other. Damon, you only came here because I prayed over you for cancer. And then we got close, and we have friends, and I'm over for dinner for you, and then I was really scared of your wife for a very long time too as well. But next thing you know, 5 of your friends are baptized, serving on stage, 2 of them right here too as well. Todd, you're still freaky because you're 6'5". I can go through Logan. You only came because your son and your kids were here doing jiu-jitsu thing during our whatever culture fest, and now you haven't left. We got connected because you were having a problem or whatever. We prayed, and now you haven't left. But your friends and your families, I can go around for 20 more other stories too as well. All the stories that I can tell you guys of how we got close and how God has showed up has come through what? Suffering and challenges. Suffering and challenges. Just like Joseph has gone through before too as well. He may not have seen God's hand in it, but God was still in it. You may not know why you're in this situation, but I say this, our response in the moment of the challenges means everything. This guy, what is his response in this moment? He could be bitter, he could be mad, he could be angry at God, ripped from his house, he's a slave. And the moment a girl comes to him, he says this, I don't care what I'm going through, I don't care what's coming after me, I don't care how long I've been a slave, I don't care how long I've been in this job that I hate, I don't care how many bullies are at school with me, I don't care about whatever somebody's persecuting me, it would be a great sin against God if I did this. I pray that we have the same response, no matter how much trials or tribulations that we have in this moment, that we can still say, God, I'm still going to honor you in this moment. I don't care what is being persecuted. I am still not going to sin against God. I am still going to honor him. Number 3 is this. He was his father's favorite. He was Potiphar's favorite. And then now he becomes the warden's favorite prisoner too as well. All the wrong people to have as favorites. Wouldn't you agree? This is like the law. So what happens is she kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her. And he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around when he went into to do his work. So she came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, come on, sleep with me. Joseph tore himself away, but he left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house. I want to pause for 1 second. It is no secret when I tell you my greatest struggle in my life has been. You guys already know it. I won't even say it aloud. Yes, I will. Sexual immorality and looking at things as a married man I should never look at. I pray this, and this is what I do now. The moment this comes where someone says, come on, you can look at this. Come on, you can sleep with me. Come on. I mean, guys, I'm a good-looking guy. Just the best I can. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. I wish I would have learned to run away the moment those trials and tribulations, especially when sexual impurity came. He takes off and he flees because he says, I will not be caught in sin in this moment. That is a rule for all of us too as well. Every man that struggles with that is you turn around and you run and you don't look back. Amen. He turns around and he runs away, but his cloak is torn, and she keeps it. Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her. She's making this up at this moment. He runs away, but she's got his clothes in her hands. It's like, this guy raped me. He took advantage of me. So he's all mad. So he took Joseph and threw him into prison where the king's prisoners were held. And there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in prison and showed him his faithful love. Again, this man has God with him in prison. The moment he's in Potiphar's house, he's first in command. The moment he is with warden, he's put in charge again. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite within the prison warden. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all of the other prisoners and over everything that happened in prison. The warden had no worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him, and because everything he did succeeded in this time. There's a theme during this time. Everywhere this guy goes, he is the other person's favorite. Why? One, God's hand is never off his people. And two, the moment any trial or tribulation came on, Joseph always had honor for the Lord and for the people that were in heaven, even if it seemed wrong at that time too as well. Some of you guys are in situations where you know this person should not be my boss over me. I pray to you, honor that person. Joseph was 17 years old when this all starts. He doesn't even get out of prison until he's 30. David, King David is anointed king when he's 15, told he's going to be the next king, but doesn't actually take the kingdom. He's on the run for his life, and he can kill the Saul in front of him. He can take the throne, but he's like, I will not kill God's chosen person. And he doesn't even get the kingdom until he's 30 years old too as well. Some of you guys right now are going through the hardest trials and tribulations you have ever faced in your entire life, and they're lingering right now. I say this to all of you. Is it the problem because of the trial or the tribulation you're going through? Or is it ultimately, and ask yourself right now, is the response, and why is it not going the way it's supposed to be going? It's because of how you're responding in those moments. Are you bitter? Are you mad? Do you take it out on other people too as well? Or do you mourn in the right way and get on your knees and say, God, I may not understand this, that's okay, but I'm just going to be obedient because I know your hand hasn't left me. As the worship team comes up, I want to leave you with these three things as we sing this last song. Because these are questions to ponder for all of us at all times. Am I aware of God's presence and favor in my present circumstances? If God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, that means as much as he was with Joseph, he's with you too as well. I want to say that again. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. If God can be present with Joseph, he is present with you too as well. Am I walking with integrity because of my honor for God? Job refused sin because he feared the Lord, and so can we. Am I working as unto the Lord wherever he has me? God blessed Joseph because he worked hard unto the Lord. Lord, every one of us, when you have these trials and tribulations, every one of us should do the same thing. God, thank you for bringing this obstacle in front of me. God, if you have done these great things with all these other great, Noah had to wait 100 years and called a crazy man before the flood even came. Abraham was told he had to sacrifice his son. Jacob had to wrestle with God. David had to wait 15 years for the kingdom, and Joseph had to be a servant and a slave for 13 years. Only for all of them to be promoted to the great things that God has called them to. When you guys have the first trial or tribulation or a next one that comes along, I pray this, you get on your knees and you say, God, thank you for this trial. Thank you for this obstacle. I cannot wait to see what you do next. In the meantime, I will honor all those you put before me, and I will continue to love those you put around me. Don't stop loving other people just because your situation is dire. Be a 7-year-old kid in stage 4 cancer and says this, if I only have 4 months, I'm taking other people with me to heaven. The challenge isn't the problem. Our response to the challenge is. Let's change our response to those problems. I want you guys to ponder those 3 questions if you can as we sing this last song, and I'm going to come wrap it up.